All right, we have up our first hour tonight with us our colleague and friend Gerald Celente, who has much to say about many things. Right before the election, he made a prediction about the winners and losers. He said, there's one thing for sure, we're all going to lose no matter what happens. And he was dead on with that, as he always is with his trends and forecasts. Hello, Gerald. Welcome back. Where do we start?
At the end.
Yeah.
And the end is that what we've been writing about for the last couple of years. The first great war of the 21st century has begun. We said over and over again, as the economic programs that they put in place, these charades to bail out banks and prop up failing economies failed and they could no longer get away with it, that they would take us to war. Go back to the spring issue of the TrendsJournal.
Sure.
The first great war of the 21st century.
Yeah.
And you just, you started summing it up. What's going on in Syria? What's going on in Libya? What's going on in Yemen? What's going on in Bahrain? Hey, didn't make the news today. They were talking about those little boys.
Yeah.
Hey, little boys, if you're listening out there, you know who you are. Petraeus, little Boy Scout charm, as the toilet paper of record, the New York Times referred to him. And that other little guy, Allen, General Allen. These guys spending all this time emailing, well, they're letting every troop out there go get their brains blown out or legs blown off as they're playing, tough guys.
Yeah.
And trying to go after chicks with guys that like uniforms.
Well,
it's of power.
It's the Zipper Brigade at it again. This is all disgusting beyond belief.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly disgusting and perfectly appropriate for an empire in decline.
Yes, sir. You got it.
And that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the homepage at Rense.com right now, folks, if you can. Look what's going on in Europe. Massive demonstrations against austerity there, folks. Millions of people. Look at the pictures in Spain and Madrid. And don't for a moment think that those scenes may well not be repeated here in the very near future.
Jeff, we wrote history before it happens in the TrendsJournal over and over and over.
You did.
We call this Off With Their Heads 2.0 back in 2010.
Yep.
We were pointing it out that these were going to erupt into massive protests worldwide, and the language that I use as a former Bronx boy, when people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it.
Yep.
And that's what's going on. Far too few have much too much, and way too many have much too little. And it's the end of the game. And so it's class warfare throughout Europe. You mentioned Spain, you mentioned Portugal, you mentioned Greece, you mentioned Italy. Look what's going on in Yemen, the wonderful wars in Bahrain, civil war in Syria that the United States and the Arab Little League, those other little disgusting people, the kings and emirs. You can't call kings and emirs dictators and autocrats because little boys and girls, you read the fairy tales, kings are nice people. They're good. God likes kings. The mafia family has been in charge in Saudi Arabia.
They're all gangsters.
That's all they are. And they're being protected. They're wise guys. The soldiers are the American troops that you and I pay for.
Yep.
The Fifth Fleet is anchored in Bahrain. Oh, yeah, that wonderful place where they're slaughtering people every day. And then, of course, Yemen, the same thing. Obama sends in drones to keep the dictator in power. And then you go over, as I said, to Syria and to Libya, and now it's spilling over into Turkey. Oh, and what do we hear? That other little jerk, that guy that's the head of the NATO command, Rasmussen, another little boy, another little Petraeus, another little Allen. Oh, yeah, guys, if you're listening, come over and talk to me. I'll say it to your face. You're not men. You're disgusting human beings who send others to go do your dirty work because you don't have a pair. That's right. You got to tweet it. You got to email it. You have to go after women who like guys in uniform while you hide and let other people die for you. So what does Rasmussen say? He says that, if Turkey gets involved in that, and in the Syrian war, and Turkey is our NATO ally, we have to support them. Oh, yeah, but you won't let them in the European Union, will you?
Yep. Well, that's our cachet right there. We're in, folks. They are putting so many different tentacles into this dying corpse of Syria now. It's not even funny. The bottom line, though, of the whole thing is what will or will not Russia do to stop it. We know that they stopped the no-fly zone. We know that much. We don't know how far they're willing to go. But if they let Syria fall into the hands of the Western Zionist bankster cartel and the City of London thugs, they're going to have their front door get mighty hot and uncomfortable because Iran will be next. And that's the name of the game.
Iran's not going anywhere.
Well, that's what you've been saying.
We have been forecasting.
I agree.
That if they attack Iran, it's the beginning of World War III. Hey, look at those tough Israelis, man.
Aren't they amazing?
Oh, yeah, they whacked it to those people in Gaza. Oh, they were sending rockets. You're sending in these high sophisticated planes, these jets that American taxpayers pay for, that you're not supposed to use to attack other countries. Capisce? And what are you talking about? Oh, you go after Gaza. Hey, listen, Israelis, you lost to Lebanon. Remember that one? They beat you. You're not going to beat Iran. Iran is 70 million strong. These are the Persians, ladies and gentlemen. They've been around for, 5,000 years or so. When the United States started a war between them and Iraq, you remember that other little psychopath, Rumsfeld, Rum's little girl, not a guy with a pair of cojones. You remember when he gave Saddam Hussein those golden spurs to go fight the Iranians?
Yep.
The Iranians lost 1 million people and didn't give up 1 inch of land. They'll wipe Israel off the map if Israel attacks. And if Israel attacks, it's the beginning of World War III. Our lives will not be worth living. It'll be weapons of mass destruction, biological warfare, dirty bombs. And
false flags everywhere, folks. So nobody will be able to get a handle on it. You can count on that. Gerald is 100% right. The Iran war will be the beginning of essentially the end. So what do the Israelis, those brave Israelis, do? They take their laser-guided night vision bombs and go in and kill a bunch of defenseless Palestinians, basically. Oh, and we're being rocketed. The Palestinians are firing rockets at us. If you've ever seen what a Palestinian rocket looks like, you'd laugh. It looks like a 4th of July Boy Scout creation. It's a tube. It's a pipe, and it flies through the air unguided and comes down with about the force of a hand grenade. Anyway, this is another slaughter, just like we saw before with the phosphorus bombs against the Palestinians. Nothing new. Be right back with Gerald in just a couple minutes. Okay, and right back with all of you folks talking to Gerald Celente. Trends Research, by all means, get yourself in line, stay advised, stay informed, understand what's coming down the road here in the short term and the long term with Gerald and his brilliant work. All right, every time I look at these scenes, Gerald, of the Palestinians who are being kept basically in the world's largest outdoor prison camp, Gaza, and I look at them being slaughtered by Israelis and their standoff weapons and their tanks and their artillery and all the rest of it, it makes me sick. And then we look at the Zionist media here in the West, which refuses to report on it in an honest fashion and plays up these fearsome Palestinian rockets that are being launched randomly at Israel, unguided, the most crude ordnance you can imagine. I just wonder what the future of this country is going to be. It is falling farther and farther into the hole of absolute social domination and media manipulation by the international corporatocracy gangsters and criminals that are running this country now. They're not Americans. They're criminals.
Well, they're American criminals, and there are criminals throughout the world. You know, you look at any country. I just got back from Munich, and there is the Merkel criminal gang. I just got back from Dublin last week, and it's the Kenny criminal gang, and it's the American criminal gang, the Pakistani, the Afghani, the English, the Italian. It's the human condition of the time, and it's so sad. How about the French? I mean, another little joke by Hollande, you know, just declaring war against Syria and backing this.
Another brave man, huh?
Another brave. Yeah, none of these guys, by the way, could fight their way out of a paper bag.
That's
Can you imagine? You know, by the way, Jeff, we do trends in the news each day.
Yeah.
And yesterday I did a Trends in the News feature, and I said I know how to stop all the wars. I heard Obama keep saying over and over again, and Cameron and
there's another case, Cameron. Yeah.
Yeah, Cameron, little boy, Eaton boy,
little punk.
Yeah, little punk, a guy that if he anyway,
I hear you.
Yeah, So I said I could end all these wars. Anytime anybody like these little boys shoot their mouths off and say, Assad has to go, I know not only how to stop the wars, but I could balance the world budgets. And the way I would do it is we have a world leader face-off, pay-per-view. Everybody got to pay to get on TV. And what we do is Obama wants to take out Assad, put it on pay-per-view. Take him out. Take him out, Obama. Go on. No, go, man. And put Assad in the ring. Let them fight it out. And keep us out of this psycho trip. Cameron wants to do it. Go on. Go do it. We put it on pay-per-view.
Cage
I'm
wrestling.
not saying this is a joke. This is not a joke.
Right.
Because I'm tired of getting into people's psycho trips. I have my own life to lead. I don't want to get into their stupidity.
Right.
So they're shooting their mouth off, and they want to take out these world leaders. Go take them out. Go. Oh no. Oh, you mean that Assad has to go? That means you have to send Sergeant Manuel Rodriguez? Oh, or does it mean Tammy White, Corporal? Does it mean Lieutenant Frank Smith? Because it doesn't mean an Obama or Clinton or Romney. Hey, Romney got 5 guys in his family. Go fight, man. You want to shoot your mouth off? Send your boys, send yourself. Hey, and send your wife. Because there's a lot of wounded soldiers out there that could be taken care of. And send your money or shut your mouth. And this is not, Celente is not blowing off his top. I'm being totally rational, and I'm being totally rational in the sense of if you're going to be a man, show that you're going to be a man.
Hey, listen, we got a president whose wrists are so limp they blow around in the wind. This guy isn't going to do anything except hide behind his pen and look at his TV sports on the big screen and watch the weekly kill of his drone remote control video game mercenaries.
People could change this by repeating exactly what I said. Everyone should tweet it, should Facebook it, should speak it, and do it. You want to go to war, lead the charge, Junior, or shut your fat mouth. Very simple.
Well,
I just watched a couple of minutes of Piers Morgan. What a little jerk.
Oh, there's another one. That guy should be flushed down the toilet.
You saw this little prostitute sucking up to this guy, Lanny Brewer. Another little arrogant boy.
Yeah, Morgan is disgusting.
they're prostitutes.
Of course they are.
And by the way, when everyone's talking about Benghazi and what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, I suggest you pick up the autumn edition of the TrendsJournal and read history before it happens, because we wrote all about it, chapter and verse, before anyone was talking about it.
Always do. All right, hold on. We'll take our break. This is our short segment, just finishing up now. Back with Gerald in a couple minutes. Keep in mind that Hillary Clinton is stepping down as Secretary of State, and Susan Rice, or they're talking John Kerry now as well. But it'll probably, in truth.
Oh, yeah, there's a real man.
There's another man. Yeah. I'm not going to bet against Susan Rice being able to take him down. But anyway, you'll see. There's going to be a war here. It'll be at least amusing for a few days. Stand by. I'll be right back with Gerald. Everywhere you look, every single location you look in terms of our national geopolitic, you find corruption, crime, outrage after outrage, lie after lie. This country is so used to being lied to now, they expect it. I don't know if they'd know the truth if it came up and bit them on the wallet. Not much in those wallets anymore either. Meanwhile, in Europe, as I said, millions of Europeans on strike. They've shut down travel. That austerity is coming here as Obama rolls out his socialist Bolshevik agenda now in earnest in the second term. He's already announced cutbacks in general health care. Obamacare will come into play here in the next year. Countless businesses are talking about layoffs. We've had massive layoffs. Lockheed Martin laid off 123,000 people. That was sequestered and held as a secret until after the election. Boeing, massive layoffs, held as a secret, sequestered until after the election. The lies, the deceit, the deception. All I can say is everybody in this country who voted for the fraud commander-in-chief are going to get exactly what they asked for in spades. Aside from that, I would have to say, Gerald, that this is probably the most obviously fixed election in modern American political history at the level that we're watching. This is, you don't win all 9 swing states. You don't win 100% of the vote in nearly 100 different precincts in Ohio. This is all a joke. There have been too many accounts, too many reports of vote flipping, fraud, intimidation. It's as rotten as it gets. The political process in this country is broken beyond repair. It cannot be fixed through any normal traditional means at our disposal.
Read the Autumn TrendsJournal. That's
all
exactly
there.
What I said. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why we're pushing for direct democracy. I just got back, I said, from Munich in Ireland. In Ireland, I spoke to a direct democracy group. The people there, I was in Ireland a year and a half ago, and they were already in the midst of their depression. I was shocked when I just got back there.
What'd you see?
Everywhere you look, and this is not an exaggeration, right in the most, the downtown Dublin,
yeah,
where all the pubs are over there, to let, for sale, to let, for sale. And you see a lot of construction that's partially completed and empty lots. Yeah. The people are really hurting.
Main Street is dead there, too.
The people are suffering. Mm-hmm. And remember, this is a country of 4.5 million people. When I was there, another psychopath that was one of the guys responsible for the banking crisis. It just was revealed. Remember, this is a country of 4.5 million people. That he's getting a severance pay of 500,000 euros a year. Yeah. And then the slime ball Kenny, the Edna Kenny, the guy that's in charge now, we don't have any legal jurisdiction to question that. Just like today, they said that John the Slime Corzine was responsible for the fraud that was committed in stealing money out of segregated accounts out of MF Global, but of course he hasn't been charged with anything.
No.
So they made him write 500. I'll never do this again.
On the blackboard. Yeah, that's a sufficient punishment. The Street reported that charges are unlikely against Corzine.
Yeah,
come on.
Because remember, the word justice means just us.
That's it.
It's being misspelled. Justus.
Yeah.
Hey, that guy down in Florida, in Orlando, the land of Disneyland, the fakest of fake, they just slapped him with a fine for... Could you imagine this, Jeff? This is really disgusting. He planted a vegetable garden in his front yard.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah, so this is what happened, and I have to take issue with what you said. You said that Obama and what was going on is a socialist Bolshevik government.
Well, I know you're going to say fascist. That's okay.
It's fascist.
That's okay.
Man.
That's okay.
It's fascist.
I'm going off the film. I did. Now you saw the film, I hope. Dreams from My Real Father. That explains the entire Marxist communist background that he was thoroughly indoctrinated in by his real father, Frank Marshall Davis, for the better part of 10 years. This guy is a communist at heart. Sure, we've got fascism. Sure, we've got a corporatocracy.
No, this is total fascism in the sense that I just spoke about Ireland. You mentioned about what's going on in Spain and throughout Europe, the millions of people taking to the streets. That's not making the U.S. news.
No, neither are the attacks on Gaza.
No. So now, when you look at what's going on, let's make this 100% perfectly clear. Why is all of this happening? The austerity measures have been put in place in the United States and in Europe for one reason. The banks are failing. You cannot let the banks fail because they're too big to fail. Now, the banks made bad bets. The Goldman Sachs gang, the Merrill Lynch mob, the Citigroup criminals, the Deutsche Bank bandits, the Society Generale gangsters, they all made bad bets.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
They're creditors. They all knew what their risk was. These are private organizations that made bad bets.
But they're too big to fail. And they know it.
And they control the politicians. The politicians are nothing more than wise guys for the banks.
Punks.
So now they made up this law. They made it up because you could look. I challenge anyone. You know how that guy with the comb over. What's his name? Trump. That guy. You know the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know with the dyed hair comb over.
Yeah.
You know the guy. You know that guy.
The Trump.
Yeah. He makes bets. You know I'll bet $100,000. That no one could find me anywhere, in any place, that if private banks fail, you have to bail them out. Whether it's in England, in Ireland, in Italy or Spain, in the U.S. or U.K. They made this crap up. There is a new world order. It's the banking order. Remember, this is not Christianity hyperbole. The only time that Jesus Christ becomes violent is when he chased the money changers out of the temple.
He knew. We're going to go through the break network. Thanks. Keep going, Gerald. He chased them out, folks. Unfortunately, they snuck back in. Go ahead, Gerald.
And they just changed their name. They were money changers. Then they became loan sharks,
right.
And now they're bankers and financiers. Their names are Jamie Dimon. They're Lloyd Blankfein. We know all of them. They're Mario Draghi's. We know who they are. Nothing has changed. Think about this. This has nothing to do with religion. The Prince of Peace, Jesus Christ, becomes violent, not angry. When people say, hey, Celente, you're angry. No. The Prince of Peace became violent because the money changers were destroying society. Guess what? They're doing it again. The bankers are destroying society. People have lost their homes. They've lost their jobs. They're being foreclosed on because of criminality. Robo-signing, they call it. Oh, yeah, like a robot just came in there and wrote all these fraudulent acts against the people. This is as old as history.
You know what else they are? They're unsuccessful parasites because they're killing their host. They're bleeding the hearts, minds, souls, and finances of the nations that they've been parasitizing. They are turning into unsuccessful parasites because their greed has driven them to an orgasm of lust that knows no bounds and is not accountable to anybody. And they'll take, and they'll take, and they'll take because there's no such thing as too goddamn much.
They're money junkies. That's what I've been saying for years.
Exactly.
Just like a heroin addict, somebody ripped off on meth, whatever it might be.
No.
When you're a junkie, you're a junkie. You have no bounds. You have no boundaries. You'll do anything to anybody to get your fix. These are sick people. There's sick people in money, and there's sick people in military. There are sick people in Pelosi's. There are sick people in Reed's. There are sick people in McConnell's. There are sick people in Bonners. There are sick Romneys. There are sick Obamas. Am I saying this? No. General Dwight D. Eisenhower, the Supreme Commander of the Allied Forces, two-term Republican president, said, quote, anyone seeking the office of presidency is either crazy or an egomaniac.
That's what my father said. Yeah, my dad said anybody seeking high office should be barred from it on those very grounds.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. We're in such trouble now, folks. The point of no return came and went actually long ago, as Gerald has been telling us for a long time. We lost it. Was it taken from us, or do we give it up? Well, it's a combination of both. We actually sat back and said, well, the government won't harm us. The government is our servant. All the while, the government was taking the sheep's clothing off, and they refused to look. They didn't want to see the fangs and the blood dripping and all the rest of it, and the piles of corpses and the crushed lives and the destroyed families and the eviscerated and raped society that has been left in the wake of these ghouls who, again, as you said, are above all laws and are answerable to no one.
All right, on another note, very, very important, for those people that want to thrive and survive in the times ahead. I'm 66 years old this month. I've been around a while. I remember going down to Getty Square in Yonkers as a little boy and seeing Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Did you? Uh-huh.
I saw that. I touched Kennedy's hand as he also was there in Getty Square years later.
Huh.
I've never seen an election like the one we just went through. And I'm going to make this really clear so everybody could understand this. 1 week after Election Day, 1 week, the Dow Jones has lost 675 points. Oh, by the way, I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate. I used to run political campaigns in Westchester County, the richest county in the United States. And I designed and taught American politics and campaign technology at St. John's University. And between 1973 and 79, I was a government affairs specialist when political action committees were brand new, and I used to represent the chemical industry. One of the chief writers in the TrendsJournal is Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, who was the former Assistant Treasury Secretary under Ronald Reagan. So we're not a bunch of guys just shooting off our mouths that don't know what we're talking about. Never have I seen an economic collapse underway as evident as the one going on now. Since Obama got elected, the Dow Jones has fallen 675 points. Capisce?
Yeah.
All right. Now, over $1 trillion has been lost in the global equity markets since Obama has been elected.
Wow.
Why? Very simple. Campaign 2012 was a race between an empty suit and a stuffed shirt. The tight stuffed shirt lost. The empty suit won. People have no expectations on the financial markets around the world of anything coming from Obama. The only people that believe Obama are the Obama apologists, the liberals that lie to themselves, that won't face the truth.
Oh, these people are brain dead.
Them.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if Romney had won, we would have heard the lines, give him a chance. He's brand new. So he would have gotten away with it for another 8 or 10 months before it started collapsing again, because he had no plans.
And no arguments here.
And I'm not saying that, by the way. Financial Times was also saying it, that neither of them had any plans to create jobs or regenerate the economy.
No, because that's not the game.
Exactly. So now what I'm saying, Jeff, is everybody pay attention. What happened here in New York, nobody is laughing at the preppers and the survivalists.
Not the truth.
So what I'm saying, prepare for the worst. This thing is unraveling in front of your eyes. You may call me anything you want, but the numbers don't lie. And the numbers show over $1 trillion in world equity markets have evaporated since Election Day 2012. The Dow Jones has declined 675 points. You got it?
Where it's going, folks. It ain't going to slow down.
It's not going to get better.
No, these times that we face now, as you've been writing about, are going to be far worse than the average sheep will ever figure out, even when they're standing knee-deep in quicksand. They won't get it. That's just the way they've been engineered now. The social configuration we are now looking at, the mass societal brainwashing and mind manipulation and control, is a science. These people have it locked. They own the media. The morons stare at the television. They go to the movies and get programmed. They go to the sports bars. I drove by there was a sports bar, and I don't go into these. I looked in the windows. It was packed. There were 5 big screen TVs in there, each with a different ball game. And the sports bar was packed with men basically drinking and talking and laughing. Imbeciles, Gerald. Imbeciles. That's what their concerns are.
It's a worldwide.
Oh yes, well you talked about. Excuse me, but you made a point. I've got to give you an underscore on that, because you talked about the pubs in Ireland, in Dublin, for rent, closed, whatever. The pubs have changed there, and the primary reason they changed is because big screen TVs invaded them, and people stopped going to the pubs to do what, Gerald? To talk about politics and things that counted.
Every damn place I went into, you had some moron at a microphone strumming their whatever and yelling into this damn thing so nobody could talk.
That's right.
And it's worldwide.
Yep.
Everywhere you go, you have some person masturbating over the damn microphone, and I'm not knocking it, but do it in private. not in front of everybody, and no one can have a conversation because of this. Listen to me, I'm singing. Listen to me, what I'm doing. You're not here for any other reason. Just listen to me. And people tolerate it. I went to a wedding, hadn't seen people in 20 years, having great conversation, and all of a sudden, the band comes on. And nobody could hear anyone.
Nobody talks. End of story.
Because these jerks are yelling into the microphone.
Right. Exactly. No more intercourse of an intellectual status at all. The only intercourse that's going on is this wanton sex that our young people now are firmly enthralled with and sunk into. They're not going to get out of it.
Well, that's
sex.
not the only one.
Sex.
No,
no.
The other one is General Allen and Petraeus.
Well, the Zipper Boys.
Thousands of emails. Who the hell writes thousands
20,000.
of emails?
20,000 by one count.
As 68,000 troops are in Afghanistan, this guy is getting off on the Internet.
Right.
A little boy. Yeah, that's right, Alan. Come over here and we could talk about a man-to-man. Leave your guns and your flunkies behind and we could discuss it man-to-man.
And this guy was up to be the new Supreme Allied Commander of NATO.
Look at the Commander-in-Chief. Could you imagine Obama getting in a fight?
No, I told you his wrists are too limp. He'd slap himself to death.
Or Bush. Or, I love this one. You know who the other fat mouth I don't want to ever hear again in my life is Bill Clinton. I can't stand this guy.
He's a real fraud, that guy.
Oh, and hey, you Republicans out there, where was George Bush? Cat didn't show up during the election, did he?
Funniest thing.
Wow, wonder why. Couldn't be because so many people hate him.
Couldn't be because he knew what was going to happen either. I don't want to deal with that. Leave me alone.
Yeah, right. So what I'm saying is, Jeff, what we're watching unfold in front of us is historic.
Truly. Truly.
The numbers don't lie, as I said. And another point, very important. I mentioned I just got back from Munich. When I was there, the big debate was the German government can't find 133 billion euros worth of gold. They don't know where it is. They say that, now remember this, these are the Germans. Anybody that needs a little history lesson, their enemies in World War II were the United States, France, and England, among others. The Germans are now saying that their gold is in the Bank of England, in the Federal Reserve, and in France. And neither of these banks will say that they'll show anybody where the gold is. That's number one. Number two, $133 billion worth of gold, that's chump change.
Chump.
The Greek bailout is much bigger than that.
Right.
The central banks have no gold. So what they're doing is they're driving down the price of gold. Oh, Celente, that's a conspiracy theorist. Oh, yeah? Hey, little boys and girls, remember these 5 letters that nobody hears anymore? L-I-B-O-R. LIBOR. Yeah. You remember they rigged the interest rates. So you pay more. They rigged the interest rates. The world interest rates. Out of the news. Hey, how about the Petraeus with that chick, huh? This is even bigger than Michael Jackson dying, maybe.
Soap opera. We live in a soap opera.
Hey, you see Elvis lately?
Here's the deal on Germany that Gerald's talking about. The Germans have been calling for their gold to be repatriated to bring it home. Calls for Germany to repatriate its 1,536 tons of gold reserves held at the New York Fed are intensifying. As Der Spiegel reports, the Federal Reserve has refused to allow German inspectors to even take a look at the country's own gold reserves. What do you think, Gerald? Moth and dust down in there, or titanium-filled bars?
Nothing.
That's my view.
Nothing. Nothing.
Nor in
again,
Fort Knox.
Who are these arrogant SOBs to say that they shouldn't allow anyone to see it?
I know. It's amazing. I said titanium, I meant tungsten. They've been finding a lot of those too, but don't look, don't tell. The more they look, they're going to find more of it. The fraud, the theft, the rape is unbelievable. It's off the scales, all of it. Stay with Gerald Celente and Trends Research and be informed. Thank you, my friend. Great to talk to you again.
Hey, great being on. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Be well. Gerald Celente, TrendsResearch.com. Be right back.